Hey, good morning. This is Michelle, or it could be afternoon or evening when you're listening to this. But my vision for this time is to be a few minutes in the morning that you spend thinking about your walk with Christ. I'm going to start this out directed to our Gateway Middle and High School girls. Y'all know me as Miss Michelle, and these are some thoughts that I have for you about your journey in faith. I felt moved to do this for some time, and I'm finally getting around to doing it. I'm no professional podcaster, so I'm sure this is going to be a little bit goofy to start, but I'm just going to put my heart in it and listen to what God is telling me about sharing some words with y'all. In starting something like this, it can be hard to figure out where to jump in, but I've recently started reading 1 Timothy. In March of 2020, I started the Bible projects, Read the Bible in 1 year, and 5.5 years later, I'm in 1 Timothy. So I've made slow progress, but I've hung in there. And what's important about this is that it's created a habit for me of reading the Bible daily. So as I was saying, I was reading 1 Timothy 4, verse 12, and it made me think of y'all. It says, "Don't let anyone look down on you because you are young, but set an example for the believers in speech, in conduct, in faith, in love, and in purity." This came to my mind as I heard stories of excitement of starting the new school year, especially those of you starting high school, but also about feeling fearful or nervous, especially those of you going to much bigger schools and where all the hallways look the same or there's seas of people coming down the hallways. Some of the middle school girls talked about this being a time to reconnect with friends and maybe considering that there's some friends that you should be hanging out with and some that you shouldn't. But altogether, what really brought me back to this verse was just thinking about the way that y'all have so much wisdom and faith for where you're at in your lives, much more than I did at your age. Y'all know God, you know He loves you. You have a commitment to coming to youth on Wednesday. And I want you to remember that when you're in those tough times in the hallways at school or other spaces, that even though you're young, you can set an example, not only for believers, as is mentioned in 1 Timothy, but also for other folks who don't know Christ. And you can do this in the way that you talk, in the way you act, and in demonstrating love and faith and having a purity of heart and mind, in the sense that you don't fall into things like gossiping or backstabbing. This also makes me think of a verse I've always really liked in Matthew 5:13 through 15 that says, "You're the salt of the earth, but if salt loses its saltiness, how can it be made salty again? It's no longer good for anything except to be thrown out and trampled underfoot. A town built on a hill cannot be hidden. Neither do people light a lamp and put it under a bowl. Instead, they put it on its stand, and it gives light to everyone in the house." So I encourage all of you to be the salt of the earth and the light of the world in all the spaces that you walk in this school year. And be these things not only for the believers, but also to send a message for people who don't know Christ, what it looks like to be an amazing young woman who is journeying in your faith. Okay, love y'all a lot, and I hope you have a good rest of the week and a great start to the school year.